Hello, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'm really pumped and excited to be back. We've got lots of activity planned at Move IQ Towers for the year. But before we get into it, I did just please want to encourage you to subscribe and turn your alerts on so you keep up to date with all the activity at Move IQ. Following on from our mission of last year, I am continuing on my absolute campaign to reduce the age of first-time buyers and to help people through that complicated and often fraught process. In order to do that, I am interviewing sets of first-time buyers and people whose stories that I come across that inspire me, people who have actually made it happen at a young age. And today I'm delighted to be joined by Grace, who has done something quite remarkable. Grace, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming to talk to me, because I'm really inspired, and I think a lot of our viewers at Move IQ will also be inspired by your stories. How old, I mean, give me the whole kind of background. How old were you when you bought your house?
I bought my home when I just turned 26.
Okay.
My aim was to do it by the time I'm 25.
At what point did you set out? When was that sort of line in the sand drawn? You go, right, that's my ambition.
I watched The Secret, and then I read The Secret, and I was like, that is what I'm going to do by the time I'm 25. I want to buy a home.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people I knew were like, oh, that's cute that you think that. And even people in my family, my mum's friends, when I used to go to interviews, you know, like they're like, oh, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I want to buy a home. And I think they just thought, oh, bless her, like she wants to buy a home. So I think when I got to 24, I was like, oh my God, I've only got a year left, and this was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I just became a bit militant with the saving. I just got a new job where I was earning good money. Mm-hmm. And obviously I was living at home with my parents still. So I thought, this is the time I need to save, because when you rent and stuff, it's much more difficult.
So you made sacrifices to lifestyle?
100%.
Yeah.
So before I used to go out clubbing all the time, spend money on clothes, holidays, and then I literally didn't do any of that. I didn't go clubbing, I didn't go on holiday. The first holiday I had was a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Was that hard, or were you really clear in your mindset about why you were doing it?
Well, it was hard. Obviously friends invite you out and you want to go out, but that part is hard, and you feel like you're missing out on a lot. And I feel like in this generation, especially now, we broadcast all of everything when it comes to holidays, the latest fashion. You want to show that you're doing well on social media. Yeah. And obviously I had to be in hiding for 2 years and not really show that, because I was literally just really
You can't really post your
No.
bank account, can you?
Or sitting at
Look at
home
me!
on a Friday night, But it was weird because I felt poor. But when I look at my bank account, I had a lot of money. So, and at the end, my friends actually said, Grace, although you didn't go out, it was worth it because you have this now.
Yeah. And you kept your friends. This wasn't like they deserted you.
Yeah.
Did you have a particular sum of money that you were trying to get to?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people are under the misconception that it's like a percentage of the house that you want to buy. They usually say 10% of the house, when really it's actually your salary. They usually times your salary by 4.5, and then the remainder is what you have to save. And when I discovered that, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to save that amount of money? So then I knew how much I had to save, and I think knowing how much you need to save is so important.
Yeah.
And
how did you get to that figure? Did you go out? Did you do research on the internet, or did you have a particular property that you were after, or a price bracket you're trying to get to?
Yeah, I think I saved a certain amount. I think I only saved about £10,000 at that time, and I thought, oh, if I save another 10,000, I can buy a home for 200,000. That's what I thought in my head. And I rang up a few mortgage brokers, and they were like, no, the most we can give you as a bank is this amount. And I was like, I can't buy my home then. And then that's when I realised that, I have to save more. So
you kind of buckled down and carried on making those compromises.
Yeah. But in the beginning, the first year I didn't save as much. And I think the second year was when I really, really saved, because it became closer to me being 25. Yeah. And then I felt more pressure. I put pressure on myself, really, to do that.
It sounds like you set about it very kind of rigidly. You had set yourself originally, you'd gone, right, 25, this is what I want to do. So and you pretty much pulled that off.
Yeah, and to be honest, like obviously I should have done it over the years.
Yeah.
But you know, like it's like if you're at university, if you're one of them people that do all your work the day before, the week before, it's like that almost, because yeah, I could have took it easy and saved a certain amount every year. That would have been the most sensible thing to do.
To save for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead I just did it all in one go.
Yeah. And then once you got to how much did you save?
I saved over 30,000.
My God.
About 35,000.
Really? In 2 years?
In 2 years.
That is a huge sum of money. So you saved your 35,000, which is a phenomenal sum of money for a first-time buyer to save in 2 years. So that's just inspiring in itself. And what was your next step? What happened?
Because I'm someone that doesn't do things at once. So although I was saving, at the same time as saving, I was looking at areas to live in, and looking at areas I'd like to live in as well, because obviously I have a budget and I need to make sure I'm happy there. So during this time I was actually on a lot of sites just searching for homes that I can go and view.
And so you were living with mum and dad at the time? And whereabouts was that?
That was in Brick Lane.
Okay. Brick Lane.
So I live very central.
Yes.
So then I had to move to Essex.
Okay.
So, but I was happy to move there because I was sort of sick of literally when you step out of your doorstep, especially living in Brick Lane, there's people there. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't live in London anymore because I used to think I'd always want to live in London.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to a point where I was like, I would actually like to live somewhere that's quite quiet because I come into London every day. It's nice to have a break.
Yeah.
So I became happy with the idea of moving out of London.
Okay. So you were doing your research, going to explore new areas. Did you know anybody there?
No, didn't know anyone.
Quite daunting?
Yeah, and you get vibes from areas as well. I sort of knew where I'd like to live. Some areas I would never live in if I didn't feel safe. My safety was the most important thing when looking at areas, and I knew that you should go and view areas as well at night time in the evening because then you know what it's like going home. But yeah, when I decided what area I went to live in, and once I knew, that was when I started viewing homes.
Okay. How many homes do you think you looked at?
I think about 9.
Well, not too bad.
Not too many.
Yeah.
But when I was outside my home that I'm in now, I knew I wanted it. Before I even went in, I knew I wanted it.
Let's just talk a bit about the search. So you sorted out your finances, you've done your research, you looked into different areas, and you pinpointed an area that matched your budget with your space requirements and commutability and that kind of thing. How did the search go? Did you find people helpful? Was it difficult? Did you look at loads of different stuff, or?
Well, when you sort of show interest in a property, you get a lot of estate agents ringing you every day. And also you've got to be careful about how many lease years it has. I had to educate myself on if it has a certain amount of lease years, if it's worth it, about the boiler.
Did you have anyone helping?
I have a friend that has a lot of property, and some of my family do too, but they do commercial property, so they weren't really able to help.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of research online. I was researching every single day, militantly. And the only thing on my mind was buying a home, so I literally learned everything. Back then though, there wasn't as many YouTube videos about property in the UK, I've got to say, because that would have been helpful.
Okay, well that's good to know. We're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, back then there wasn't.
I mean, it is such a big thing in someone's life. You know, I describe it as your first piece of England. You just bought a piece of England, and it's home, and you've gone to work for many years, and you've saved up a deposit, and that's your piece of England. It's your front door. That's very, very special.
Yeah.
Tell me about the house, the flat that you found, and why did you like it?
Well, when I started looking initially, my friends were like, "Oh, you should buy a 2-bed flat, so then you could even rent out the other room." But that sounds great, but buying a 2-bed flat is a lot more expensive than a 1-bed flat, and I don't plan to have kids anytime soon at that point, and I just thought I'll buy a one bed and a lot of the
It's a first home, it's not a forever home, is it?
Exactly. I just wanted to get my foot on the property ladder, and I knew that equity would grow, etc. But a lot of the properties I went to view, the kitchen and living room was combined. I think that was like the new fashion. It's the new fashion at the moment, I think. But they were really small. And my home has actually got quite big rooms compared to what I've seen. And so I was just like happy that it was livable. I could do my dinner parties.
Did you know as soon as you walked in the door then?
I knew when I was outside that I wanted to buy my home.
Why?
I have a feeling.
Is it old?
I'm very in tune.
Okay. Is it old? Is it new?
It was made in 1995.
Okay.
So it's not that old. Yeah. But it was like, it's a private build. Yeah. And it's only 2 floors. Okay. 6 flats. Yeah. So
nice small block.
And it has a loft.
Okay.
And but when I went inside, it was awful though. It was like everything in there. You couldn't live in there. And there wasn't people living in there, but it was really bad. And everyone that went to view it, they were like, "Oh my god, it was awful." Okay. But I liked that because that means they weren't going to put a bid in.
Yes. And you could see through what was there. It sounds though you tackled it just brilliantly. So having defined the area and gone out and seen 9 properties, you were therefore getting a good sense of value for money and what was realistic and what wasn't. But to stand outside, I often say that people do make their minds up within the first 10 seconds of arriving at a property. And I mean, the story you've just told absolutely kind of gives that credibility. But also, as a first-time buyer, to go in and look past
that's
all of the bits and pieces and the flaking paint and the clutter everywhere is it's
because I knew I wanted to renovate it completely. And funnily enough, I went to view a property straight afterwards. That was the place it was a bit further away from the station. That's another thing. I needed it to be near the station. The kitchen, everything was nice. And I thought, I don't want to take out a nice kitchen and put the kitchen I want in. I don't feel right doing that. And I still prefer the other one. And it's another thing you learn as well when you go and view properties is that everyone there is sort of competing for that property. Yeah. In the beginning, I was like sort of talking to people and being like, really, you shouldn't ever give your cards away when looking at property, I think. You just need to act like you're not really that interested in it.
It's a really interesting one because the estate agents are trained, they're in sales. Yeah. They don't care who they sell it to, they just want to sell it quickly for lots of money. And if you start jumping up and down looking all excited and telling them that, how much you love it, then at the end of the day that's going to stand against you. I think negotiations in property start a lot earlier than most people give them credit for.
I started finding things that was wrong with it. That's what I did. Yeah. I was like, there's a bit of damp on the walls. Yeah. There's a crack there. So although you want the property, you just got to find what's wrong with it to negotiate lower.
Was there competition for your property?
I believe so. But I don't know. I don't believe there was a lot of competition because I think the people that were renting it just wanted everyone not to buy it because they left everything out. It was like they didn't want anyone to live there.
What was it up for, and what did you pay for it?
It was up for 200, but I paid 195. Yeah. But then I had to pay 5k for external works. Right. So within 2 months of living there.
Did you know that was coming?
Yeah, but they said it would be like 3,000 to 4,000. And then bear in mind I had to renovate my home, pay external works, pay for the windows as well. Were
you looking at old properties, new properties? What was in your mind?
I had in my mind an older property because I like the brickwork. I always like to see bricks at the outside of my house. I preferred to have a older property.
You weren't tempted by the government schemes and Help to Buy and that kind of thing?
I did call a few actually. I think when I discovered how much I needed to save, I thought that's impossible, how am I going to save that? And then I didn't find them helpful because they had to be in a certain area. I could only have brand new homes, and for me I'd want to pick the home and then them help me. But that wasn't the case, and at the time it wasn't the best option for me, and I thought I should do this by myself. Like I just want to have I don't want anyone controlling what I do in the future. yeah, and I felt like it was the best move for me.
And I know you bought somewhere that needed renovating. Was that an ambition? Did you set out to do that?
Yeah, I've always had a vision of like what I want my home to look like, and I know no one's gonna have that. So I knew I wanted to renovate it. I actually wanted to do way more to the home, but I couldn't because of the walls and it's tiny. But my future home, I know exactly what I want.
Okay. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. And you know what, after everything, after renovating it, it's so satisfying knowing that I created this and it's exactly how I want it. So I can't complain.
Yeah. Fantastic. I think it gives you a very warm feeling every time you come home. You go, I designed that, I chose that, I picked that, I put that in, I painted, you know, it's properly your home. It's lovely.
So it's good. I should be an interior designer, really.
Well, maybe that's next. Before you sort of set this ambition of buy a property by the time you were 25, and therefore before you made adjustments to your lifestyle, what were you like with money? Were you a spender, a saver?
Yeah, I was awful with money. I think if anyone that knew me thought I'd be able to save, they wouldn't believe it, because I was like on every Friday I'd go to Harrods, I'd buy food, I'd buy clothes, shoes. I never looked at prices. So I lived with my parents, so all my salary was going on shopping, and every week without fail I bought clothes.
Okay.
So I didn't know the value of money back then, and
it was a massive departure.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a complete character turnaround.
100%. And the friends that I had, we used to go to clubs and the drinks were £15 per drink. So I'd spend at least £100 on drink in that night. My lifestyle completely changed from then.
Okay. And what do you like with the value of money now?
I'm quite sensible now. And I only buy things if I'm 100% going to wear it. And I buy a lot more home stuff though. But it's good home stuff.
So more money's being spent on
my home
pictures and
But like say like my trainers, like 2 pairs of my trainers would be the price of my sofa before, and it was only until I was buying a sofa I thought 2 of them trainers in that wardrobe can be the sofa, and now I'm struggling to pay for a sofa.
How much was the sofa?
It was over £1,000. It was just like one sofa, and I didn't realise how expensive sofas were.
Cost per wear, you see, Grace.
Yeah.
You sit in the sofa
and
wear a couple of trainers.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And I think that's when I was like, I really need to be more.
Okay. You did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
And during that time as well, when I was saving, it was like the hardest time in my life because I just lost my mum.
Right, crikey.
So when I was saving, my mum was in hospital. Yeah. But that's why I say the first year I wasn't as militant with the saving because my mind was on my mum. And I just put money away. I wasn't going out, and so I was at the hospital every day. And then, when she passed, obviously I wasn't really in the mood to go out either because when something like that happens, you don't want to go out. But to be honest, when she first passed, the last thing on my mind was buying a home. I thought none of this matters, no material things matter. But then it dawned on me that I'm an only child, so I need to make sure I have some security for myself. So then I was like, I need to focus.
So some very hard and dark times. During
so bad.
During what was quite a struggle anyway. Goodness.
It was like an emotional time and like hard work time. But in a way, I feel like it helped. Like my mum used to always say, for anything bad, turn it into something positive. So that was always in my head. So then I use all like the pain almost to get through it in a weird way.
Because you knew what you were aiming for.
Yeah.
You knew what you had to do.
And it was also good for my grieving to like be busy, have a focus. And like do something for myself and
How long did the process take between the time that you offered on it and the time that you exchanged contracts?
It took about 3 to 4 months.
Okay.
They said it would take 6 to 8 weeks. But I feel like, they had tenants in the property I bought. So, they just had to get them to leave.
Okay. But it wasn't a chain or anything.
No, that was one lucky thing. Yeah. It felt longer than what it was because obviously you really want to
wanted
move
get it
in.
done.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And so tell me about that moment when you opened the door and it was yours.
I was very relieved when I went and collected my keys. And it was like everything I'd done, it was all worth it. Because, I owned my own home. It wasn't, to be honest with you, even when I renovated it and it looks the way it does now, sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I can't believe I own this. So it's weird. In the beginning, I didn't really believe that I owned it.
Okay. It's a bit surreal.
Yeah.
And also you put so many years of sacrifice and compromise into your lifestyle to get it. And then they were...
So I've got it now.
Yeah.
But
then you renovated it. So that was another stage.
Yeah. And I renovated it before I moved in. So it was all done within 2 months, everything.
How was that?
But yeah, it was a lot. To be honest, it was...
Were you managing builders and tradesmen?
Yeah, so the logistics of it, getting the labourers in, and obviously if they did something wrong, which happens sometimes, getting the people to do the skimming. So you have to do everything in the right order.
But she'd never done before.
I've never done that before, no. And I got my friends in, we was painting my living room. It was very, I discovered that painting the ceiling's very difficult. You have to have abs. So we had to do that before the floor had to be put down, and I already had someone to come in, so there was a lot of pressure to get everything done. But I managed to do it. I think it was even less than 2 months now, thinking about it.
Were there any low moments? Did you ever feel that you'd bitten off more than you could chew?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think because I was renovating, if I wasn't renovating, everything would have been fine. Yeah. But you've got to bear in mind, I used all my money up to pay for the mortgage and the deposit. I had to come up with the money. I had no money. I had to come up with the money to renovate my whole home.
Yeah.
And
how did you do it?
I don't know. At the time, it was I literally had £1 in my bank account some days. That's how it was. So I paid the labourers. Obviously, that had to be cash. But with my bathroom, my kitchen, I could do that on finance. So that's how I sort of dealt with that. And then with paint, that wasn't too expensive. And then the flooring, I had to pay with that with cash. So I had to had to use my overdraft smartly and only use it for things I had to pay in cash.
Yeah.
That's how I sort of did it.
It's such an inspiring story. It really is. You've pulled off a big feat there. And I've interviewed a number of first-time buyers, and I love hearing how they did it, and particularly at a relatively young age nowadays.
Yeah.
But to do a renovation on top, all on your own, having not done it before.
Yeah.
Tell me about now. So it's all done. How long have you lived there?
In October it'll be 4 years.
Okay. Still love it?
Yeah, I do.
Did the area pan out as you hoped?
Yeah, I do like the area. I feel very homely there. I feel comfortable. And even sometimes I look at homes, because obviously my wage has gone up since then and my equity and stuff. And I'm like, maybe if I move there, and I'm like, actually, no, I want to live where I live. I really like where I live, and I've made it my own little haven, because it's all bright.
Yeah. And have any of your friends managed to buy in the interim, or has anybody moved close to you?
Yeah, actually, 2 of my friends, since me buying my home, one of my friends, Jess, she bought a home a year after. She actually said to me, Grace, if you didn't buy your home, I wouldn't have. And then my other friend, she just bought land and she's building on it. So, and we're all single women as well, can I just add? Because a lot of people buy homes with partners.
Yes.
To me, that's not easy, but it's way easier. It's half the amount of money.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think it's good.
It's terrific. It really is. I often find that you're a bit of a pioneer for your generation and amongst your friends to actually make the compromises to save and to get it done. I often find that you will, to some extent, set a trend, because your friends will look, Grace pulled it off and she bought a flat over there, let's go and have a look, she's really happy, let's go and have a look there. And you found value, you've demonstrated that it's possible, and you've gone out and you've done your research and you found value. You may well now see the next raft of first-time buyers actually pushing out house prices.
And that's why when I was doing YouTube, that's why I thought I should tell people this, because if I can do it, and I'm not the smartest person in the world, I always say, if I can do it, anyone can. And I think it's all in your mind that you can't do it, or you just don't try. If you don't believe you can do something, you're not going to put as much effort to do it. And I'm always one of them people that if I want to do something, even the job I have, what I plan on doing with my future, I don't have a doubt in my mind that I can do it. So I think if you are someone that has that, it's easily done.
Well, it's not easily done,
Well,
but it is.
Yeah, it's not easily done, but it's
Yes.
doable.
I think you're absolutely right. We read so much about it's tough for first-time buyers in London, and I'm not for a minute suggesting that it's not tough, but it is possible. It's not possible to buy your first home in the area,
Yeah, by a mansion.
or indeed in Brick Lane, where you were brought up.
Nowhere, yeah.
But I was recently up in Northamptonshire, which is only 50 minutes out of Euston. 3-bed house with a garden in a nice village for 160 grand.
Oh, wow.
It would take you that long to get into town from Putney.
Yeah, it's true.
Where it would cost you 700,000.
Yeah,
More than that for a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
So people do have to look for opportunities. You have to go searching for value.
And that's one thing that people have said on my channel. Oh, well, I want to live in this area because my friends live there. But it's like, okay, well, you can stay there if you want, but you won't be able to buy a house.
Yeah.
You have to make sacrifices with anything you want in life, no matter what it is. Like, we give up our time for our jobs to make money. Like, with this, we have to work hard to give up our time to buy a home. It's the same thing.
Looking back at what you've achieved, would you have done anything differently?
I think I would have spread out my savings. So instead of doing everything in 2 years, just save like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 per year.
Yeah.
And to me now that's nothing. But at the time when you're young, you just want to like go out all the time, and I think everything in moderation. So if you had a salary, like have a certain percentage where you put it in your savings, I would have rather have done that.
Okay, for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like because you set your goal of, right, I'm going to buy a house by the time I'm 25, that actually gave you the kind of discipline.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's always good to have goals. And that's why I try and always set myself goals. And I think if I didn't have that goal, I don't believe I would have bought my home at that time.
Because you wouldn't have made so many sacrifices,
No,
you wouldn't have saved up money, it would take you a few years longer.
I probably wouldn't have thought I could buy a home, to be honest, because as you say, a lot of people throughout most like shows and stuff, they'll say, oh, it's so hard for young people to buy, they can't buy now. But if I listened to that, I wouldn't have bought.
Yes.
Because if like professionals are saying that, you're going to believe them being young. And also it's easy option not to, all right, then I won't buy a home, I'll just rent. It's easier.
You were living at home, which made it much easier to save.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so you had that support.
Yeah.
Your generation, and indeed my generation as well, we're not used to waiting for things. We don't stand in line, we don't wait on hold. If you want it now, you want it now.
Yeah.
And actually buying a home, that's not possible. You do have to.
Another thing I did as well during that time is I studied a lot on like wealthy people and their attitude and what they did to get what they want. And a lot of them live like paupers in the beginning to get what they wanted. So I knew that in my mind when I was saving, I knew that this is what people do.
Yeah.
They don't live a luxury lifestyle in the beginning,
Yeah.
and then later on they will. A lot of young people just need to educate themselves more, I think, on things, because there's so many ways to make money. We are taught in school there's a certain way, you work hard, you go to work 9 to 5, and that's how you make money. But there's so many other ways. And all the information is out there. You just need to search for it. And I found it on YouTube. I listened to a lot of audiobooks as well.
Any plans for the future? Property plans or otherwise?
I want to buy a second home. That is what I'm working on at the moment.
Okay.
Because now I've got equity. I want to take that out to buy another home. And so I'm educating myself about that to make sure it's the right decision. And then, that's what I plan on doing.
And do you think you do another project on that?
I don't know, because the thing is, the home that I plan on buying will have to be out of quite far away.
Yeah.
If it was near, 100%, but if it's like in Liverpool or somewhere, it'll be hard to commute all the time.
Yeah. Grace, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure talking to you and hearing your story. As I said at the beginning, it is inspiring. I think you've done fantastically well.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you continue to do fantastically well. Get that rental.
So.
Keep going.
I will. I want to make sure I do well.